Alrighty. Well, I'm excited to see all of you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Um, really, if you're open to it, would love to see faces, but really the goal here is that you're present, you're engaged, and you're taking something from today. I know that you have a lot of better things that you could be doing instead of just sitting here. And so I hope that you're here because you want to learn some powerful things and also, have some ideas that you can really implement right away. So picture this. You finally got the promotion that you've been working towards and you can't wait to start. However, in the back of your head, you know this also means a lot of changes ahead. One of which is starting to manage people who were your former peers. And so this challenge can be this transition can undoubtedly be a challenge. However, if you're accepting the promotion, you're also accepting the responsibility of facing some of these challenges head on and working to overcome them. And as you know, despite the new dynamics that it presents for all parties, it's also an opportunity for growth. So today we're going to go through a lot. We're not meant to master this transition in 30 minutes. You're not going to walk away, having fully enrolled your team into your leadership approach or, mastering those new boundaries and expectations. However, this is the beginning for you to confidently and competently navigate those dynamics as you move into a new leadership role. Hey, Cody. We're just getting started. You haven't missed too much.
Good. Sorry, I was on a call and it ran over and I'm like, dang it, I don't want to miss this.
No worries. Um, so before we get started, my name is Caitlin. I'm a certified professional coach. I'll introduce myself momentarily. However, just want to give you a quick agenda of what we're going to talk about, why you're here, and I'll share a little bit about myself. And then we're really going to get into kind of those 4 initial tips to help you seamlessly transition from an individual contributor to the leader. And then afterwards, as I mentioned, we will have some time for Q&A. And the good news is, whether we have time for Q&A or not, I will be offering a free gift of some one-on-one time with no strings attached. But we'll get into that later. So, as I said, this is going to feel like a lot, but I want you to really pick some top takeaways to take action on. So let's get started with why you're here. I've had several conversations with all of you throughout the registration process, and I've heard things like, I don't know how to have boundaries with people I've maybe shared too much with previously, or I want to gain the respect that I see other leaders receive, but I don't really know how to get my peers to see me in that way. I've also heard I'm so excited for this role, but I also, I'm a little fearful because I know there's so much that goes behind the scenes and I just don't even know what I don't know. And then lastly was, I know that I want to be a better leader and I know how to navigate this and I want to know how to navigate this for my team, but we're in a really high stress environment and I'm just not sure where to start. So who can resonate with any of these examples? Feel free to let me know in the chat or if there's anything else that you didn't hear. And as I mentioned, we're going to share 4 tips that you can focus on as you navigate this transition into a leadership role. So as we get started, quick introduction. My name is Caitlin. I'm a certified professional coach who focuses on helping young female professionals step into leadership roles with confidence so that you can experience increased respect and autonomy while thriving personally and professionally. So why am I the one teaching this? I know how valuable support can be, and I know that it can be really frustrating to feel stuck or lacking direction in your work. And I know that when you don't feel confident, it doesn't just impact your work. So my passion is really helping those female young professionals in a way that's relevant and straightforward. I know that the same support isn't always available, and the support that is can maybe feel unapproachable. So I really have that passion for helping people make that transition of maybe feeling unclear or unsure to feeling empowered and unstoppable in their careers and all they do. So let's learn how to navigate that first phase of transitioning into a leadership role in a way that feels authentic and real. I want you to think of it like this. Stepping into a leadership role is kind of like learning to drive a car with passengers for the first time. When you're driving alone, you can make decisions without as much consideration for others. You've got other people on the road, but as a leader, you've got a whole team with you. You're responsible for the direction, the pace, and ensuring everyone feels secure along the way. Before you hit the road, you need a clear route. You need to understand your vehicle, which is kind of your leadership approach and style, and then also have a plan for how to handle those unexpected detours. So today we're exploring some key tips to navigating this transition with clarity and confidence. These topics are a part of a larger lesson in my program where clients really craft those personalized strategies to thrive in leadership roles. And we're just sharing some of them today. So feel free to drop in the chat what's one challenge you think you might have when transitioning from a peer to a leader. I've heard things like learning how to do one-on-ones or how to not bring maybe some unproductive or harsh criticism into your new role. Cody says boundaries. That's a huge one that I hear. Often, how to be your best leader or how to be the best leader, even if maybe you don't have a lot of great leadership. There's a lot of things that can go into this, and with the right preparation and support, you're going to be able to navigate this in a way that feels, again, really impactful and helpful. So in these 30 minutes, again, you're not going to have a magic wand, but you will start the journey. So let's get into it. So transitioning from a peer to a leader is, again, exciting, and it can be complex. It's about finding the right balance between maintaining trust and stepping into your role with authority. And so the first tip here to navigating this transition is focusing on effective and proactive communication. Communication is one of the most important leadership skills, especially when it comes to fostering trust and authenticity. And when done well, it creates clarity, builds mutual respect, and helps you lead with confidence. So as you navigate this transition, remember that your team and most people value that honesty and transparency, especially in times of change. Being authentic and vulnerable from the start directly impacts how smoothly any transition goes, which is going to also impact your success moving forward. At the onset of the transition, taking time to connect one-on-one with each of the team members to introduce the transition and really use it as an opportunity to accept and encourage feedback. These conversations can give you insights into what each team member might need, and then also allows you to really strategize how you will approach your new position. And guess what? This is a great place to encourage your peers to use you as a resource now that you've been promoted. You were just in their position, so you have firsthand knowledge of how you can make their work life better. Framing it in that positive light will also help people accept the changes and enroll them into your vision. These initial conversations can also allow you to get an idea if there's any hesitation or questions from your team, which, let's be honest, that can be a little scary. However, getting these insights early is going to allow you to address those concerns so they maybe don't pop up as much in the future. Your goal as a leader is really to listen to understand, not to be understood as much. Taking time to truly connect with your team shows them their voice matters. So, the next tip, defining the relationship. As Cody mentioned in the chat, boundaries. This can feel like one of the most daunting parts of a transition. You know that gaining the respect of your team is important for success. However, respect requires clear expectations and boundaries, which can feel very awkward and uncomfortable, especially sometimes even more as females. No matter how close your relationship was with your peers in your previous role, things will change, and you'll need to learn how to balance that friendly approach with signs of strong professionalism. When we think about boundaries, we often think of the relationship changes. However, as you move through this transition, you'll also see that as a leader, your time, energy, and focus are really valuable resources. And these are the other areas that without clear boundaries can lead you to feeling overwhelmed, overcommitted, and underproductive. Not a fun combination. So setting those boundaries helps you prioritize what matters the most, both for your department's success and the team, without carrying any unnecessary guilt. It helps give you the ability to focus on the bigger picture and your responsibilities as a leader. It's also about protecting your energy. As a leader, you're making decisions that impact your team and organization. And those boundaries are really a way to help you conserve energy for clear, effective decision making rather than feeling stretched too thin. And then finally, boundaries actually help you establish that mutual respect that often we see in other other leaders and really admire. Because when you have those clear parameters for how others can engage with you, whether it's time, communication, or social interactions, you're actually showing people how to interact in a productive and collaborative way. So where to start? You're going to want to really identify what boundaries in this transition might be necessary. You can think of one area being around relationships. And so consider moving forward what maybe feels appropriate. Maybe this means being more mindful of what you share or deciding what, if any, social activities feel right moving forward. The next is around work styles. So think about how you might prefer the team to communicate and work together. Are there specific expectations you might have around, how you interact and communicative email response times? Or, a simple one that I see with clients is sometimes people don't actually accept your calendar meeting invite, but they plan on actually being there. And so is that maybe an expectation of, if you're planning to be there, go ahead and hit that accept button. And then how do you go back and forth on different updates and, project status? All of those things kind of go into those work styles and helping you to figure out, okay, what are your expectations and what are the boundaries you want to enforce? And then the third area to consider is around your time and energy. So in your new role, you're going to be learning a lot. And this might mean saying no to last minute requests or handling informal drop-ins in a way that don't derail your focus. So for example, somebody pops by your office, you're in the middle of something. Maybe you do have the white space on your calendar, but you really wanted to focus and move this project forward. Maybe you're meeting with the leadership team, later in the week, whatever it might be. Instead of what we so often do, which is, sure, just come on in, take a couple minutes, you might be able to say something like, I am happy to help. How about we schedule some time so I can give it my full attention? Again, it's helping balance that I'm approachable, I'm available. However, I want to do it in a way that's of service to you and also of service to your personal, capacity as well. So here's the thing. Boundaries aren't about being flexible or inflexible or rigid. They're about creating the necessary structure to lead effectively. And keep in mind, boundaries are a skill. They're really not a one-time action. You don't say, oh, yep, how about we schedule that meeting? And then people just automatically know, I'm going to schedule a meeting. It takes the repetition and it takes practice. So the third area is going to be utilizing your insights as an advantage. You actually have insider knowledge that most leaders don't have when stepping into a new team if you've already been with the organization. You've worked alongside these colleagues and you already have a sense of what they appreciate and what they find frustrating. So this gives you a unique advantage because you can step into your role with that awareness front and center. So for example, maybe you've observed that a previous manager was overly controlling or micromanaged projects to the point of frustration. I'm sure none of us have ever experienced that. This is valuable to keep in mind because it's easy for us to say, okay, yeah, I don't want to be a micromanager and I know what I don't want to do. However, this is the opportunity to identify, okay, well, what are maybe some skills that I need to practice to actually replicate effective leadership into my style? That might be, okay, I need to learn how to set clear agreements, or I need to have some consistent connectivity with my team and establish some feedback loops so they don't feel like I'm constantly just dropping in and checking in. So to start reflecting on those experiences, you can ask yourself, maybe what are some leadership behaviors that didn't resonate with me or my peers? What are some qualities that we did appreciate in leaders, and how maybe can I start embodying those? And then where do I see opportunities to make positive changes based on what I know about my team's dynamics and preferences? So another example is maybe you've noticed your team struggles when leaders lacked transparency about decision making. With that knowledge, you can really start to make a conscious effort to explain your reasoning of why behind decisions are being made and invite input where appropriate. So again, using these insights is not necessarily just allowing you to be more thoughtful and self-aware, but it's also helping you build trust with your team. They'll see that you're genuinely trying to create an environment where they can thrive, and that makes all the difference. So take some time to reflect on those experiences and use those lessons as an opportunity to shape the leader you want to become. The small changes based on that insider knowledge can have a big impact on how your team perceives you and responds to your leadership. And the fourth tip is acknowledging the contributions of your former peers and empowering their voice under your leadership. So it's likely that your former peers helped you climb that professional ladder in some ways. So don't forget to acknowledge that. Whether they maybe mentored you or collaborated with you on projects or, helped you craft emails along the way, or just, showed friendship and support through the process, those contributions matter. And now that you're stepping into a new role, acknowledging their part in your success can be essential for fostering that goodwill and trust. But the part I want you to remember is that it's not about diminishing your own hard work. It's about showing that you recognize leadership isn't a solo journey. When your team feels heard and respected and empowered, they're much more likely to rally behind you as their leader, even if you were once their peer. Empowering their voice doesn't just help them feel valued, it's really going to strengthen those team dynamics and drive improvements as you work together. And here's the bottom line. Leadership's about lifting others up. By showing that gratitude for their contributions and giving them that voice and shaping the team's future, you're not only gaining their trust, but inspiring them to thrive. Stepping into this role, especially when maybe your team has more experience or a longer tenure, can feel daunting. But remember, it's not about proving you're the most seasoned person in the room. It's about showing you value the collective strength as a team and are committed to helping everyone succeed. So we've covered a lot today, and I'm going to recap some of the key pieces to bring it all together. So again, remember this process is about striking the balance between maintaining trust and stepping into your role with confidence and authority. We begin with a place of effective and proactive communication. Whether it's fostering trust, creating clarity, or encouraging feedback, communication sets the tone for how your team experiences the transition. And remember, your team really is going to value that honesty and transparency, especially in those times of change. Being open and authentic from the start will really pave the way for smoother transitions and long-term success. Then we talked about the importance of defining relationships and expectations, which can feel like a more challenging part of the shift, but it is one of the most essential. Boundaries around relationships, work styles, even your time and energy aren't about shutting people out. They're really helping you create that structure to lead effectively and show your team how to engage with you productively. And then next, we talked about those insider insights. You already know what works best for the team and what doesn't. Use that knowledge to evolve your approach and really use the awareness as a unique advantage to lead thoughtfully and intentionally. And then finally, we touched on the importance of acknowledging the contributions of your team. Leadership isn't about doing it all on your own. It's about lifting others up and empowering your team to achieve greater heights. Recognizing the role that your peers played in your success and empowering their voice under your leadership goes a long way in earning and expanding on that existing trust and respect. So keep reflecting, keep listening, and keep growing. And remember that those small intentional actions over time will help you not only lead with confidence, but also inspire those around you to thrive. All right. So I know that was a lot, but feel free. I hope this was actionable and helpful. Thoughts are always stronger when shared. So feel free to share any takeaways in the comments. As I mentioned, I'm going to be offering that free gift today of 20 minutes, which will be sent out in an email as follow-up. This 20 minutes can really help you, get clear on specifically where you are and some action steps to close the gap and where you want to be in your leadership journey. Maybe identifying those specific skills you want to develop, and giving you some really, practical and actionable strategies to move forward. Either way, whether you take advantage of the time or not, I hope that you take something from this session today and use it. And also keep an eye out for details on our monthly masterclass series, which is going to be kicking off in 2025. So with that, I will wrap up and I will stay on for a few questions. And trust me, what's personal is universal. So if something comes up for you, you are definitely not the only one. Otherwise, thank you all so much for being here.
Caitlin, thank you so much. This was awesome. I really think that you nailed it when it comes to the boundaries, because I think it's often missed by a lot of new leaders. So, just seeking clarity and being more precise when it comes to expectations and whatnot. So awesome job. I can't wait to share this with some other people and have them tune in next time.
Thanks, Melanie.
Have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the insight, and I'm definitely going to be able to use this. Even though I'm not a leader yet, I'm being treated as one and looked at as one. So it's really helpful to have this ready to go. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that it was helpful for you. I'll go ahead and stop that recording.